Greetings, what's up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting because he's a massive nerd. Bringing you guys right now a live 1 vs 1 fresh from the ladder featuring spawning in the west. It is going to be the Overcommand West forces of Jove, who has actually featured recently on the channel in a game and you know, is just one of the most successful, storied and awesome players in the scene. A very talented and monstrous player, so this ought to showcase some pretty high-end OKW play. And spawning in the east, we're going to have the United States forces of a bunch of Chinese characters who I'm just going to call Kanji for this game. And it looks like Kanji's going to go ahead and pick a commander straight off the bat. He's going to be going for the Heavy Cav Company, so it's Pershing time. So yeah, hit pause if you want to overview those abilities. There they are. Quite a fun commander. Rangers are a fun unit to use. I don't know if combined arms has changed, but I hope it has because... I don't know, it always sounded great in theory, but I never really saw it have a very heavy impact on gameplay, so we'll have to see if that's going to get utilised. How much does it cost to use these days? 125! Whew. Whew. It's quite a lot. So you'd hope it's pretty good. The map is going to be a new one. It's got some kind of Russian-sounding name that I've already forgotten, but yeah, this is not a map that I've seen before, I don't think, or like cast very much of. So I'm just going to have a little pan around here and just acquaint myself with the various areas of this map. It seems pretty damn open. There is a lot of open space on this map, so that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I imagine the machine gun's quite strong for locking down these areas, and vehicles able to move relatively uninhibited around this map, so I wonder how that's going to affect the mid and late game. Looks like we've got 3 squads Volks here coming out for Jove, 3 squads Riflemen coming out here for Kanji, as the initial shots getting underway, a couple of skirmishes going on around the map. And, you know, for some reason, the game is running a little loud. I wonder if there's some way... I can't really adjust that on the fly, actually. Ah, well, let's not worry about that. It's only running loud for me through my own headphones, so it shouldn't affect the cast. It's just kind of like a little bit deafening, but I'll just have to deal with it. It's cool. Yeah, so yeah, initial scuffles going on around the map, shots being fired. We're going to see who's going to be taking the upper hand in these early stages of the game. Each player is connected 1 fuel point, so that's going to be... Oh, hang on, wait. Is that really accurate? No, this fuel point is actually cut off. Ah, the cutoff point on this map appears to be this point right here. So Kanji punching through, going to grab the cutoff from Jove, secure himself the early fuel lead. That's quite nice. Securing himself right now double the fuel of his Axis opponent is Kanji. So that's good stuff. And whilst these scuffles are going on, actually... Ah! Well, I was just going to say I'm going to take a look at the commanders that Jove has to choose from. But he's going to go ahead and choose a commander right now. Because he wants to call in the Jaeger Light Infantry, and they will be entering the battlefield here. He's gone for probably my most used OKW commander of all time. Like, personally speaking, this is just a commander that I have played a lot of battles with. It's going to be the Salvage Doctrine, or the Scavenge Doctrine. So that gives you the Flak Panzer, it gives you Thorough Salvage, Jaeger Light Infantry, the Infiltration Tactics Grenade Package, and the Heavy Howitzer Barrage. So that's what Jove's going to be going forwards with in this game. Now, I've cast 1 game with Vermax, and I've seen an Ostwind or 2. And the Ostwind appears to have been buffed considerably since last I was casting. So, yeah, hopefully that buff also applies to the OKW Ostwind, because that's what we're going to see this time around. Let's just crack the tack while these scuffles are going on. So... looks like we've got a tech choice here. Lieutenant coming out for Kanji. Jove right now taking field control. You can see a lot of allied units here falling back. It's going to enable Jove to get some capping done. Jove's going to get the scout right here on this lieutenant, so he's going to know what tech he's going to be up against and be able to plan accordingly. Schwer of a Max Schlepper right now on the build queue for Jove. So he's going to be able to make a choice moving forwards. And from what I've seen, it does appear to be the like the mechanized building. Man, my knowledge of this game has like deteriorated so much. Not the Battle Group at HQ, the other one, the one with the radio antenna on it, the one where you can get the Stuckers of Fuss out of. That's what I have seen most OKW players going for since I've been watching. So we'll have to see. I've got to say, I would like to see a Battle Group at opening and just like see somebody try to make it work. So Jove, my buddy, if you're going to be that guy, that would make me happy. But we're going to see. I mean, I don't suppose he will, but we'll see. I can't think of a compelling reason to. We've got an M20 utility car coming out onto the map. Got the armoured skirts going to be getting constructed on that one. So opting for a light and mobile vehicle here is Kanji. As well you would, I suppose. And the tech choice is going to be... It is a battle group at HQ. Hey, Jove, my man. Nice. So, alright, cool. Well, let's see what he's going to build out of this then. Got a 3/4 ton ambulance here coming up for the United States Forces as well. Let me just check. Do you build the MG34 out of the... Yeah, you do. Okay, cool. Sorry, it's been so long. Yeah, so the MG34 does come out of the HQ building. I was just making sure that's where you get it. Do you still need a tech building? Yeah, you do. So yeah, so the tech building will unlock the MG34. That all still works basically the way I remember. M20 right now just kind of policing the front. Alright, so the battle group at HQ finishes. What are we going to see? Could be a flak half-track. I would love to see a flak half-track. Hopefully there have been changes to that unit. And the light gun I've cast one time so far, and yeah, I was really happy to see the changes to that. So it cost 270? Yeah, 270 the cost on that unit. Down to just 7 supply cap. Effectively resembles a fairly standard mortar squad. So anyway, Jove's on 300... Okay, it's going to be a flak half-track. I was just going to say, Jove's stacking enough resources where he could make a choice from his battle group at HQ if he wanted to, and it seems like he does. He's going to go for the flak half-track. This is such a weird map. It feels so, like, weird and open and dissociated. It's just such an open map. I mean, there are good amounts of soft cover and even, you know, some heavy cover and things like that, but there's hardly any movement or line of sight blocking terrain at all. It's just so open. I'm not sure I've just can remember a map that's this open. That's not a criticism, by the way. It's just my mind sort of idly wandering out loud. Okay, so the flak half-track's going to come onto the field momentarily here. We've also got the G43 sniper package just come up onto the Jaeger lights. Hang on a second. So these guys are invisible in cover. Is that just a thing that they've always had? Have Jaeger light infantry always, like, cloaked when in cover? I can't remember. I feel like they didn't. I don't know. Oh, man, it's been so long since I played this game. Anyway. Well, that's the thing that they definitely do nowadays. Flak half-track going to get committed here up into the north of the map. And going to get a couple of kills already, making its presence felt. So it now comes with the concealing smoke at Vet 0. Nice. Well, that's really cool. And then does Vet 1 remove the cost? Yeah, okay, decreases the cost. Okay, yeah, I think I dimly remember it being that way when I was playing this game last. Oh, gets a nice setup here on a retreating lieutenant. This would be quite a nice kill, but he's definitely not going to get it. Well played for, though. Pretty even game so far. The scoreline, 477 tickets for Jove over 457 of Kanji. Yeah, just a super even game so far. Looks like we've got a Zook coming up on the lieutenant. So that's going to give him some utility to try and answer this flak half-track. We've got a Kettenwerfer here coming for Jove, which makes a lot of sense. His opponent has 2 light vehicles, and while the flak half-track can deal with them, it's not really a very mobile unit. Like, your American opponent has to blunder pretty hard for your flak half-track to answer his medium tanks. So that's not going to help. Wow, my mouse is still on the fritz at the moment. Kind of skitching out a little bit there.
Capture point is being overrun. An anti-tank gun has taken the field.
So yeah, Kettenwerfer on the field. Looks like we've got a 50 cal. Awesome. Haven't seen a 50 cal in use for time. Let's have a look at this 50 cal. Experienced cruise can suppress. So it gets enhanced suppression at that one. Quicker setup. Okay, cool. Just overviewing the veterancy abilities on the 50 cal because it's been so long since I saw one. Flak half-track going to displace the American forces in the south of the map. Very nice there for Jove. Let's have a crack attack here, man. This map, I don't know why. I'm just finding it like a really hard time getting my teeth into this map somehow. Like, so that's a cutoff point there. So each base has 2 cutoff points. It's just so much open terrain. It makes the map feel really sort of, I don't know. Looks like we're going to have a Stuart here coming out for Kanji. And that will, for the time being, be the Kingmaker on the field. Definitely the most expensive and besterest unit on the field. But there is a Kettenwerfer out already for Jove, who's gone ahead and, of course, researched the medics from his battle group at HQ. Loving so far this opening from Jove. Like, it's not been especially powerful or anything, but he's definitely showing me how, like, a battle group of first opening is, like, totally plausible. Whoa, anti-vehicle grenade could come down off these riflemen. There it is. That is going to be a damaged engine on the flak half-track. You've got to imagine the Stuart is going to reroute here. Well, it's already on its way. So this is probably going to be the first big swing of the game. Like, it's going to be very hard to see how this flak half-track is going to survive this encounter. So, yeah, nice work here from Kanji. Gets a pick-off on the flak half-track. And safe to say we definitely have a fairly concrete lead now for the American player. He's enjoyed a bit of resource income advantage and has a slight score advantage. But picking off that flak half-track is really nice. That's going to give him a lot of field control. There's only the Kettenwerfer really on the field to answer the Stuart. So yeah, that seems like pretty good right now if you're Kanji. How many CP do you need for the Black Panzer Ostwind? Oh, well, it's already available, so that's pretty nice. So Jove can pull in an Ostwind. Does he have the fuel? It doesn't actually show me the cost for some reason here. That's weird. Normally it shows you the cost. Oh well. I imagine he can afford the Ostwind. But if he can afford the Ostwind, why doesn't he just get it? Because the Ostwind pretty much beats the Stuart. So maybe you need like another building or something? It does just say click and deploy. So Jove is saving his fuel for something else? I'm not really sure what that is right now. Nice United States play here being showcased by Kanji though. He's using the American units effectively, smartly. Hey, we've got some Rangers with the Tommy gun package out on the field. They are gonna destroy some people if things go well, man. Rangers are so dangerous, or at least they always used to be. Bazooka experts. That feels like that's a new thing. Bazooka experts. Rangers and paratroopers just have this passive thing where they're better with Zooks. Dude, that seems awesome. Nice. We've got another half-track here coming for Jove, so I imagine we're going to see what his plan is for all of this fuel that he's been stockpiling. And, I mean, he's stockpiling a lot of fuel at this point. He could just be going straight to Panther. It's been a while since I've checked the actual costs of the building. So it costs 120 fuel for the... Okay, so it's not going to be the quickest Panther in the world. So okay, well here comes the half-track anyway. So we're going to see what he's going to do with this half-track, which tech choice he's going to take. Having a hard time right now is Jove, just kind of really finding any real purchase on the map. Like, sure, he has one BP, but he's having a hard time getting either of the others. And even having a hard time just holding on to his fuel point as well. So definitely falling into the underdog position right here is Jove. Schwere-Panzer HQ is going to be the choice. So that's what we're going to see constructed. In a reasonable position. This is not super far forward where it's like, you know, hard or it's going to be in jeopardy that easily. But far enough forward that it can definitely cover a couple of points here and provide some support for his retreating units. Doesn't quite cover North VP here, but it's kind of close. In a way, actually, if you build that like about here, it probably does cover North VP. But, you know, who am I to question Jove's judgment? He's like pretty damn good at this. Focusing on anti-aircraft duties. The crew of the Schwere-Panzer HQ will fire only at aircraft. Okay, cool. So it's now got like a toggle. So, yeah, previously sometimes you'd be leaning on this thing like to deal with Allied air support. And it would just be shooting. The allied player could distract it by like driving a medium tank into the arc of this thing, and it would just repeatedly ping the tank instead of going for aircraft. So I guess that's why they've added this button. That's nice to see. Stuart just going to be policing the front here. The scout car is also up to 3 stars of veterancy, so that's pretty... Oh my goodness, that is the unluckiest squad wipe here. Ranger's going to come through with the good cooked hand grenade. And going to be utterly brutal. Wipes out the expensive Sturm Pioneer squad, so a loss right now that Jove can ill afford. He is going to go ahead and replace that squad straight away, but I'm sure he would have liked to have spent that manpower on other things. And totally routing his opponent right now is Kanji. Many units on the fallback, as you can see here in the top left. The Schwerpanzer HQ going to buy some time and cover the retreat there, but oh my goodness, these Rangers are just devastating all of the Axis infantry on the field. And the M20 utility car just continues policing the front. These poor Volksgrenadiers really kind of don't have an answer right now. There's going to be a Faust coming through, but that's about the best they can do. Here we go, double Faust, now what? Here comes the Stuart to help out the stricken scout car. It's going to force all of Jove's stuff back, and like pretty much all the Axis units are either falling back to or on the screen right here. So that's never where you want to be right now. American forces going to be grabbing fuel, going to be grabbing a point here in south, and Fresh Storm Pioneer is going to try and work some magic here. But this is a rough spot right now for our Axis player. And it's only going to get rougher because he has to know, he's seen the Rangers. There is a Pershing looming on the horizon. So this is actually looking like a super rough game for Jove. Now, if there's any player who can come back from a deficit, it is Jove. And in terms of Company of Heroes 2, this is not the biggest deficit. You know, Company of Heroes 2 is a game of comebacks, and yeah, Jove can totally get this done. He's just not in the best position right now. So let's see what decisions he makes to try and get himself back in this game. Going to be pushing his fuel point right now. Definitely wants to get that back, and of course deny fuel from his opponent. Coming close to getting a squad wipe there with the sniper Jaegers, but not quite. 50 cal though in a lovely position here for Kanji, covering the VP really nicely. Meanwhile in mid, the Stuart going to be putting in work against this MG in a building, whilst infantry battle over mid VP here. And Jove gets a 4-star squad of Volks into cover nicely, but I don't think, well, we'll see. It may be enough to decap the point, but I can't imagine he's actually going to cap it. As soon as this Stuart is... Oh, okay, he's gonna lure the Stuart out into the open. Faust comes through, so that's a dead Stuart for sure. Very nicely done. The concealed Rakettenwerfer there, gonna be the fatal push for this light tank here, the American light tank. Cooked hand grenade going to come through, but the Axis MG team luckily survived, so Jove's going to get to hold on to that particular toy. And yeah, with that exchange, really nicely done there from Jove. Sure, he doesn't manage to secure mid-VP, but he does crucially knock out the allied medium tank. And I would have thought Kanji right now doesn't really want to spend fuel unless he absolutely has to. So I don't think we're going to see the Stuart replaced. It just doesn't seem like the best investment at 17.5 minutes in the game when you really want to be stacking fuel for a Pershing. Pershings cost 230 fuel these days. So at the present rate of fuel income, he's probably on for being able to get that Pershing when he hits the 13 command points needed to unlock it. So the game plan is coming together here for Kanji. Obviously, he didn't want to lose that Stuart, but it is probably within the realm of acceptable losses. Like, his position in this game isn't that badly threatened by the loss of his light tank there. So, yeah, Jove there with a nice pickup. But he's going to have to deal with a Pershing in a bit. Panzer IV going to be the choice for Jove. Puts down all of his fuel. He was waiting for that one. On the Panzer IV, Alsf J. And I don't know. I don't know about this Panzer IV. It's going to have a brief window when it comes out onto the map where it's going to be really, really, really good. Because the only real opposition to it is like 2 Zooks. But then there's going to be a Pershing. And I don't know. That Panzer IV just seems to be like a veterancy magnet for that Pershing. In fact, like, if I was Jove, knowing that I'm going to be facing a Pershing, like, sooner rather than later, because Jove's a good player, right? Jove knows that he hasn't had the best fuel control this game, and he's kind of been the underdog, so this Pershing's going to be coming in a timely fashion here. So, yeah, it's going to be coming out more or less as soon as 13 command points is hit for the American player here. So do you really want to have a veterancy sponge for the Pershing on the field? Like, that, this Panzer is going to feed that Pershing pretty badly, I reckon. But maybe Joe feels like the game is just going so badly he needs to just convert his fuel into value immediately. But I mean, I'm Magpie, so I'm going to just go out there and suggest a Jagdpanzer might have been a sweet choice, because you know the Pershing's coming. Jagdpanzer is a really good unit. It scales really well into the late game. I don't know, I just really like Jagdpanzers. But I especially like them when you know that your opponent's going to be building a Pershing. And of all the allied heavy tanks, the Pershing is probably the most Jagdpanzerable. I don't know actually for sure what the armor values are, but I feel like the IS-2 is probably tougher, and so are most of the other heavies. So, yeah, the Pershing's always felt like a sort of like turbocharged medium tank with an amazing gun and amazing mobility, but doesn't quite have the durability of the other heavy tanks. Anyway, Panzer IV is going to make itself known in middle of field here, going to help shove this 50 cal out of the building. More combat going on in south, and it's all going Kanji's way down here. He's going to be capping some points. There are some Jaegers with a sniper in the hood, but if they reveal themselves, the scout car will chase them out of town. MG34 going to be capping a command point up here, so Jove doing everything he can to stay in the game. And to be fair, how this game has looked, he is only like 120 odd tickets behind his opponent, so were this another player, you could easily be a lot further behind. Anyway, that's the sound of a Pershing rolling onto the front here. Jove is aware of it now. So what does this Panzer IV do? I mean, so he gets another Kettenwerfer straight away, which is a really smart plan. He's going to need that Kettenwerfer. I think 2 Kettenwerfers has to be the cornerstone of any potential plan to deal with this Pershing. And maybe that is why he bought the Panzer IV. As I was saying earlier, this Panzer IV makes an ideal target for the high-powered gun on the Pershing. So perhaps Jove has bought this Panzer IV as bait. We saw that's how he took out the Stuart. He baited the Stuart into a position where he had a concealed Kettenwerfer and was able to deal with that tank. So maybe he's going to scale that plan up, where instead of using an MG for bait, he's going to be, or I think it was an MG, it was an infantry unit in a building he was using as bait. Maybe he's going to use the Panzer IV as bait, and then come in with the double Kettenwerfer to try and deal with the Pershing. And 2 Kettenwerfers in a nice position. If you can get a Faust onto that Pershing, yeah, I can see that Pershing going down. And what do you do as the allied player if your Pershing goes down at this timing? I mean, I don't know, you panic a little bit. The game starts looking pretty terrible then, especially if the Panzer IV comes out of the ambush intact. I mean, I'm in pure hypothesis land now, but yeah, okay, there we go. So, wow, the Panzer IV gets a penetrating hit back on the Pershing. Nice work. And, okay, so he kites back with the Panzer IV. The Pershing comes in. Kettenwerfer is in position, but reveals itself a touch early. I think it wasn't actually set to target vehicles there, because it seemed to take a shot at those riflemen. That's a great shame for Jove, because it is going to spoil itself. Spoil or give away its position. Wow, these riflemen need to run, and they do. That is a bit late. Okay, they're going to get out of there just, though. And the Pershing and the Panzer IV kind of trading okay with this Kettenwerfer here in cover. Maybe there's things afoot here that I don't know about. Our Panzer IV House of J is a little bit better. Our Pershing's a bit worse than I'm thinking. I don't know. This is going a lot better than I thought it would look for Jove right now. So, yeah, this is exciting times. 2 squads of Jaegerlights here getting pounced on by Rangers. Jove catches the situation in time though. Gonna dodge the Cook's grenade. The Jaeger's getting out of there, but he's back under a double cap now and doesn't quite have the best position on the field. So it's going to be sketchy times. Another squad of Rangers being called in here. So we're up to what, 2 squads now? Yeah. For the American player. Pretty nice infantry roster there.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
He's got the repair kit on his Storm Pioneers, has Jove, so
Crew, get ready.
this Panzer IV is going to have a pretty fast turnaround, but then again, American, well, I was going to say American vehicle crews have a really fast turnaround on their vehicles too, but of course the Pershing, I think the only, or one of the only, American vehicles that you can't hop the crew out of. So going to have to repair it the slow way with rear ash.
Losing a capture point.
So actually, yeah, this Panzer IV gets turned around a lot faster. Some mines getting set up as well, so that's another way that Jove could take out this Pershing. And I feel like Jove is doing everything he can to give himself the best shot in this game. And to be honest, for as badly as the early game went, you have to look at the battlefield right now and say it's not too bad for Jove. Yeah, sure, his opponent has a Pershing, and it's definitely the most powerful unit on the field. But he's got all the ingredients he needs to take a good fight against that. He's got mines on the field, 2 Kettenwerfers, a Panzer IV to use as bait or as a finishing blow to the Pershing. So I actually don't hate this position at all for Jove. If you look at the mini-map, he's managed to push up, he controls the fuel, he has 2 of the VPs right now. Ah, my mouse. The American forces are going to try real hard here to push forwards. And the Pershing's going to come in for support, but Jove doesn't mind yielding this area. He's pushing in the north. So, yeah, this game is kind of almost back to even, I want to say. Now, that can all change in a heartbeat. This is still Company of Heroes 2. You know, a tank shell in the right place can do a lot of stuff. But, yeah, I'm actually amazed at how even this game is looking. Like, Jove's doing really well at having pulled this one back. Panzer IV and a concealed Kettenwerfer here, so perhaps the Pershing may take the bait. Awkwardly going to be reversing, going to be joining this fight arse first. Never what you want, but it's fine. Manages to turn the Pershing round. And is he going to come for the Panzer IV here? The Ranger's going to hit those mines there, so that's not one obstacle for this Pershing that has been removed, albeit at the expense of 2 American lives, but that's actually an acceptable loss right now for Kanji. Pershing going to be sent up here to police these Volks that were pushing in north. Looks like the MG34 going to sneak on out. Sorry, that's a stolen 50 cal, not an MG34. My bad. Stolen 50 cal going to be pushing 2 stars of veterancy on the stolen 50 cal is pretty sweet as well. It's going to be pushing out there in south. So is this a replacement 50 cal? Right, yeah, sure. Okay. Just trying to keep track of what units are on the field. Alright, so the Panzer announces itself. Pershing comes in, Kettenwerfer strikes back, and that's going to force the Pershing back. Okay, that Panzer IV is severely wounded now. Probably needs to GTFO, and it will. Storm Pioneers are right here to repair it. And another exchange there, just within the margins of comfort for Jove. He's controlling all of these fights with the Pershing. He's controlling them so well. He's limiting how good it can be. Looks like the one of the Kettenwerfers here gets caught out by the 3-star American scout car. Rough stuff there for Jove. But, you know, again, probably within the tolerances of acceptable losses. He has enough manpower to buy more Kettenwerfers if he needs. And I'm going to go ahead and suggest that he probably does need. He's actually going to pick off the 3-star scout car with his Jaeger lights. So that's some nice stuff as well. And just getting the most done with some pretty poor situations. Oh, but a rough squad wipe there. Going to redress the balance of power. And this, just a pretty even game so far. Both players making some sweet moves. Got a Panther on the queue now for Jove. And you have to look at this field and love the Panther, don't you? I mean, the 80 solutions for the American player basically consist of the Pershing. I mean, yeah, there's a Zook or two on this roster, but that's... Zooks don't particularly concern Panthers, or at least they never used to. Although these Rangers do have a Zook, and they do have the like bazooka experts thing, so it'll be interesting to see how much of a difference bazooka experts makes when firing against the Panther. But yeah, with the Panzer IV, which has been surviving admirably, yeah, this Panther could be really, really decent. I think Kanji's life is about to get a lot harder. Now, he's stacking a ton of fuel right now, is Kanji, and I'd love to see him make another choice with all this fuel. Are you limited to just one? You are limited to just one Pershing, yeah. But he could go ahead and get a... is it a Wolverine? What do the Americans get? Sorry, the Jackson, that's the one. So he could go ahead and get a Jackson, and that sounds like the smart choice to me. So I imagine we're gonna, as soon as the Panther gets scouted, we'll see a Jackson come down onto the queue. I can't imagine a Sherman is the right way to spend your fuel in this circumstances. But I'm not an American player. Sounds like the second 50 cal just got wiped out somewhere on the map.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
So yeah. Oh wow, there's also a Zook on the floor here. I'm sure these Rangers would love to grab it. Equally so with these Jaeger lights. Looks like he's going to relocate to cover here. Probably going to go and grab that Zook in the near future. Panzer rolling onto the field now. Pershing here as well. So the Panther's immediately going to get a shot. It's going to be a miss, but that is a low Pershing. But Jove being patient, not going to overcommit in. Panther is trying to control mid, but the Zook on these Rangers going to be putting some damage onto the Panzer there. Curious that Jove opting not to grab the Zook just yet. Can Volks Grenadiers grab a Zook when they have the STGs? I don't think they can, right? I thought that Jaeger lights could grab another weapon after they have the sniper, though. Am I wrong about this? Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like if he could pick up that Zook, he probably would. So anyway, Pershing going to be repairing right now. Jove right now with... Let's crack the tack. We've got a moment of quiet here. Let's crack the tack and assess the field. So Jove with good resource control, under a double cap right now, but okay, there we go. He does go ahead and address that. So I reckon Jove is like actually winning this game now. Yeah, he's behind on the scoreline, but I like his army a lot better. His infantry have vetted up considerably, and we all know how hard OKW infantry are to kill once they get to 4 and 5 stars. So I feel like he's unlikely to lose his core infantry, being as aware and as good of a player as he is. He's winning the armor game. The Panther and the Panzer totally control one Pershing. And I would just love to see our American player spend some fuel. He hasn't actually got a captain yet, has he? So he would need to get the captain, am I right? Yeah, he needs to get the captain. And then get a Jackson. I mean, what else do you do? I don't play a lot of US forces. That's probably my least played faction. They just don't really suit me, and I prefer the other allied factions. Oh my god, that Pershing hits like a hammer. But yeah, so my instinct right now is that the US player should be getting a Jackson, but I don't know if you guys have some other ideas, like what should the US player be doing with his 270 odd fuel, or 260 odd fuel at the half an hour mark in this game? I mean, it has to be a Jackson, right? This Panther is just too much. You can't get another Pershing. And this Panther is just, it's a lot to deal with right now. And Jove, look, he just doesn't overcommit. He's just gonna, just happy to grab a Star of Veterancy and get out. He's just not doing anything rash. He's not exposing his tanks to any unnecessary risks. And that's great, because that's the only way I can see he loses this game, is if he takes a dive or gets into a circumstance and something catches his Panther off guard. And that's just not happening right now, because he's being so safe with it.
M110 smoke strike can be delivered to cover our men.
And now look at the field. Look how far he's pushed up. Jove here has a double cap. He has so much field control. He had double fuel until just now. He's actually going to buy another Panzer IV. Which I think I like. I mean, everybody likes an Ostwind, right? Or maybe it's just me. But I love an Ostwind. But on this map, when your opponent has a Pershing and you just want to because the Panzer IV is pretty good against infantry as well. Yeah, it's not as good as an Ostwind, but it's like a solid 6 out of 10 against infantry. And then you have 2 of them, and that's pretty great. And it can also contribute against your opponent's armored choices. So yeah, I think I like this second Panzer IV. This is really nice. Okay, so here comes the Pershing, going to run straight into the Panther and the Kettenwerfer, so has to back up. And look at how different the way this Pershing is being used and is moving around the map compared to the Panther, right? The Pershing is taking sort of like lunging stabs and trying to come in for value. It feels like it's trying to force things, whereas the Panther and the Panzer are always just sitting back. Sometimes they roll forwards to take a shot, but they're never lunging into a position without support. They're just coming forward to take a shot and then creeping back. And I don't feel like there's ever been a moment where the Panzers or the Panther have been in jeopardy or unsupported by other units. I mean, I guess I could say the same of this Pershing, but it seems like the Pershing is being active for shorter bursts because it's accumulating damage faster and taking slightly riskier lines and then having to be repaired for longer. It could also be that the Storm Pioneers just like repair so much faster than rear echelons, which is another reason why this Pershing is spending so much time off the line. So yeah, the second Panzer IV going to make itself known here, so Kanji knows about this. Why isn't he spending his fuel? I'm so confused. I appreciate that he doesn't really have the manpower to be buying armoured units right now, but like you still have to try and spend your fuel, right? And he could get a captain for like, what, 200 manpower I think it was? So I'm a bit confused. You know, Rifleman going to go unchecked here in the north, probably going to head straight for the VP. And yeah, that he will. I think it's definitely Kanji's best shot in this game right now, is just to try and win on tickets. He still has the ticket lead, 349 over 270. And yeah, ticket pressure, probably what he wants to focus on right now. Going to spend a load more manpower reinforcing units, and that's fine. Going to repair the Pershing as well. Wow, actually, his position is so compacted as Kanji right now. He's just slowly been whittled down by value plays out of Jove. Like, we haven't seen any flashy plays or any massive moments. I mean, probably like the most impressive, like, cinematic, spectacular moment was when the Stuart got taken out by the handy Kettenwerfer ambush. But apart from that, Jove's just been getting value plays, maintaining a solid line, looking after his units, taking safe lines of play, just being very calm. And I like that a lot, and it's proving to be effective. I mean, right now it kind of just feels like he's just squeezing Kanji, slowly but surely, choking him. He is the Python right now, is Jove. And he is constricting his coils. And I feel like this game would be a lot easier. You need more anti-tank than this to deal with a Panther and 2 Panzer IVs. So you've got 4 squads of infantry that have Zooks on, but it's like, I'm just not convinced that that's enough. Anyway, we've got a tank battle down here in south. The Panther going to be lining up against that Sherman again. Jove going to be going for another Schwerver Max Schlepper, so he wants to complete the Overcommand tech tree at the moment. But that he'll probably do. Yeah, just maintaining at least a double cap. Maintaining just about more than half of map control. Not taking any risks. Never committing his tanks into fog of war without support. Or indeed just not really committing his tanks, full stop. I haven't really seen like a hard commitment from any of these armoured units so far out of Jove. The Pershing now up to 3 stars, so let's investigate here. It gets improved acceleration. It has enhanced mobility, and the crew can lob grenades. And it gets improved weapon accuracy and rate of fire. So this Pershing now definitely on steroids, looking pretty buff. Gonna roll forwards again, but the front armor on the Panther, for all those buffs, still proof against the rounds from the American tank. Wow, that rate of fire is actually scary. And a couple of bazookas gonna come through. Jove slightly slow to come and retreat the Panther. Oh, it is gonna be enough though. It gets out of there. Lucky miss on that last shot from the American tank. And there's gonna be a Rakettenwerfer and all kinds of stuff here. In fact, a Faust comes through. What the? Jove puts together a kill on the American heavy, seemingly out of thin air. But of course it wasn't. It was all very well put together. But if you blink, you miss it. That was just nice. So yeah, the Panther there. That's a tried and trusted. All right, you got to. People playing against Jove, just beware. Anytime you think you're about to kill one of his units, it's probably bait, is what I'm learning. Jove here is just a master of using bait tactics. Well, I say he's a master. I've seen him do it like 3 times in the last like half an hour. But I mean, that still is pretty good, right? So the Panther gets out of there. It's going to get repaired. Where did the Pershing die? It was like here. Okay. So I know there's fighting going on in the north. Let's just quickly see what's going on here. But I really want to deconstruct that Pershing kill just for a moment here. It just looks like Axis armor here is just kind of mowing down American troops. So that's the story of what's happening there. So anyway, so the Pershing, the Panther seemed to be sort of like idle, and it took a few zooks, and it took a couple of hits from the Pershing, and its health was put to low, and Jove started retreating it sort of like along this line here, into a load of Axis forces here, and the Pershing was so quick to jump because I think probably one more Pershing here would have destroyed that Panther. And to be fair, Kanji got a bit unlucky. There was a shot from the Pershing that missed, landed around here somewhere when the Panther was retreating, and if that was a hit, it either would have left the Panther on a pixel of health or it would have destroyed it. I don't know. It did roll a miss, and that is unlucky for Kanji. Yeah, the Pershing was moving and firing, which is never going to help your odds, but it was a 3-star Pershing, so, you know, probably there's a lot of timelines where that shot hit. We're just living in one where it didn't. And then the Pershing just overstayed its welcome it just rolled forward a couple of yards too far, catches a Faust, the engine's broken, there's a Kettenwerfer in the hood, the Panther's still in range, and that's a dead Pershing, and it dies so fast. It dies so fast. Now, how much manpower is a Pershing? So 600. Well, pretty safe to say, I reckon Kanji will look to replace that Pershing if he can, but that's going to require at least 3 minutes of concerted economical manpower spending here, and I don't think that's really going to be an option. We do have a captain on the field. I mean Major.
Point is under attack.
I've been calling him a captain all this time. Oh my goodness, I'm so out of touch with American tech in this game. Of course it's the Major who unlocks the Jackson, not the captain that I've been saying all along this game. Sorry about that, guys. But, yeah. 2 stars on this Panther now. Gets the armoured skirts. Let's have a look at those armoured skirts. Nice. And, yeah, I don't know. This game's probably... I don't know, Kanji might have one more play left in him, but this is going to be so rough. He's got to somehow come back against 3 Axis tanks. And we're at that stage in the game now where his manpower income is just not great. I mean, luckily he's down at 58 supply right now, so his manpower income is kind of okay. He probably will get another Pershing. But then we're only back to the stage we were at just now, where he was still pretty much losing the game with a 3-star Pershing. So I think he's still pretty much going to be losing the game with a no-star Pershing. He just needs more than a Pershing. You need more. You need a Jackson, man. I'm convinced that a Jackson needed to have been picked here. I mean, like, even a Sherman, but I mean, why pick a Sherman when you can pick a Jackson? Like, you're spending fuel to deal with your opponent's tanks here, and as far as I know, once you already have the Pershing, the most efficient way of spending that fuel to deal with tanks is on a Jackson. I mean, the Pershing has those AT rounds, but it's like, I don't think you're really struggling to deal with your opponent's infantry. Like, once these 2 Panzers and the Panther are dealt with, you've got Rangers, you've got machine guns, you've got really vetted up, well-equipped American infantry. I mean, the problem here is clearly the Axis armor. I don't want to beat a dead horse too much, but it just seems to be strange that Kanji's fuel spending has been so bizarre this game. Anyway, he's up to 500 manpower right now, so we can expect to see a second Pershing soon. So that'll be good. Wow, also pay attention because Jove is stacking 500 munitions, which means that the 105mm howitzer barrage will be blistering. And he is wailing forwards right now. He might be trying to find a spot to put it down somewhere near the American base. I'm pretty sure you can't call it inside the American base anymore. Gonna lose a 50 cal here is Kanji, but that's okay. He can probably just grab that again. It is very close to his base, so he can just grab it if he needs to. There's the Pershing on the field. The 3/4 ton ambulance gets taken out, but here comes the Pershing coming into the flank of these two panzers. Gonna get a nice shot into the flank of one of them. Oh, is he gonna commit with the... Whoa, he's coming in way hard with Pershing. That's too hard. What are you doing? Okay, that's game over. I imagine we're gonna see Kanji leave the game about now. That's
lost a heavy tank.
yeah, that's rough. Okay. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest, like, Company of Heroes 2 is a hard game, but it gets even harder when you're playing against Jove. So I can't blame Kanji for making certain mistakes, but I feel like he didn't give himself the best shot in this game by not getting the correct anti-tank resources. But that's something that I've said, like, a lot of times already in this cast, so I'm going to stop going on about it. Nice game here put together from Jove. Got off to a rough start. American infantry all over the place. Pushing him back. Suffered an unlucky couple of squad wipes in the early game. And those Rangers, still as good as I remember, and that's good to see. But then Jove just able to slowly claw his way back into the game. He was under pressure not just from the Rangers and the infantry, but from the scout car and the Stuart from Kanji. And he was able to put together a really nice ambush kill on the Stuart, using his infantry as bait and getting a concealed Rakettenwerfer into position. That was lovely. Once the Stuart was out of the way, that opened the door for Jove to be a little bit more... just advance his infantry out onto the map and make additional value plays. And in every fight, I mean, there was never one decisive moment where Kanji was just overrun or lost a stack of units to Jove, but just every fight, Jove was just being calm and careful and just getting the better end of every engagement with his infantry. And then later on, when his panzers started arriving, with those as well. And I was a little skeptical about getting a Panzer IV into a Pershing, but Jove here showing that as long as you don't overcommit and be very careful with that Panzer IV, you can use it as bait and tag it up with a couple of Rakettenwerfers, and that Panzer IV survived the whole game, made it to 4-star veterancy, 31 kills on that unit, very efficient, so definitely a good choice there from Jove. And the Pershing's armor, possibly even weaker than I remember. Either that or the Panzer IV House of J's gun is better than I remember, because those Panzer IVs were getting a lot of penetrating hits on that Pershing, even at range as well. So yeah, the Panzer IV, it seems, probably fine against Pershings as long as you look after them. I think if the Panzer IV gets caught out, or if you're looking away for even like 4 seconds at the beginning of a fight involving a Pershing and your Panzer IV, you're going to lose that Panzer IV. But Jove, just a really good player, so that's not a problem for him. And then the Panther was just kind of the nail in the coffin, especially when combined with Kanji's lack of fuel spending, and just didn't have enough AT answers for this amount of German. I mean, there's just too many Panzers on the dance floor, you know? So anyway, yeah, that concludes this replay. I saw a couple of other great players on the ladder, so I might hop in and cast another one. But this, for now, is Magpie842 signing out.